This is Snakes and Otters, a pointless discussion of eternal questions. Get ready. We're about to live in your head rent-free.
Hello, Otterites.
I am Martin.
And I'm Robert.
I'm Francis.
I'm Andre.
I'm Marcus.
Yes, we've got 5 of the 6 of us here this time, which is always cool. Eventually, we'll get back to a full boat from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, Cajun's becalmed.
Yes, that's right. He's
stuck in becalmed waters. He and
That's
the
right.
Pirate Queen.
That's right.
They don't have enough rowers to get them back to the cove, so they're kind of stuck till the wind kicks up.
Yeah, that's right. He shall return, though.
He will.
Sends his greetings.
Well, but he's avoiding albatrosses and
That's right.
trying to keep the ship afloat.
Your metaphors are doing pretty good today, sir.
Thank you.
That's right. This is
Thank
Francis in the captain's chair. We're going to do history today, guys. We're going back to, you might say, back to our roots. You know, that's where we started this whole
Well, I
podcast.
mean, we've been
Well, hold on.
promising this one for like 6 months, and we're finally here.
That's
Wait,
right.
I thought we were doing Bonaparte, not World War One.
Yeah.
Well,
He's got to get a little
actually,
dig in there.
The Congress of Vienna, post Bonaparte, leads directly to World War
That
I.
is
And there we go.
There we
There's the
go. That's
line.
exactly right. Oh yes, we've made that. You can draw that direct line. In fact, without Bonaparte, you have no World War One, and without World War One, you do not have the modern age. So there's a reason why we.
The reason why it's important.
The
That's
father
right.
of humanity.
Love you, Robert.
Yeah, that's right. I know Robert's not a huge Bonaparte fan.
No.
No?
It's the whole need to center so many shows on World War One. What felt like the need to center so many shows on World War One
Yeah,
and
well,
related topics.
That's what it's all about, as
That-
Python
that's-
would say.
That's
right.
You know,
I think he's
all
just
about.
prejudiced against the French.
Well, who isn't?
I was gonna say
Well, and
me.
That's right. Yes. He with the last French surname here. So yeah, we kind of
Well,
got
and
that.
and the first name too.
Well, that's true. That's right. Well, you could
It's
call
the
that
proper,
wrong.
It's the proper spelling with a C.
It is, and it's also
there was a C
Italian.
in
That's also
Imperator.
Roman too. So you can go back on. But we digress as we often do. But we're going to talk about Bonaparte today, the rise of Bonaparte.
The rise of Bonaparte.
That's right,
we'll save the fall for another time.
That's
I
right,
guess.
because he does deserve 2 episodes. He's one of those
Really?
individuals.
Does he deserve 2 episodes?
He did so much. Yes, that's in so many things. And to be honest, we can talk about 2 episodes worth.
We can talk about anything for 2 episodes.
Well, I'd like to say that think that as well,
Yeah.
but I suppose Martin and I conspired a little bit to try and bring this in. We've been talking about it for a long time, but to be honest, it's kind of the continuation of the French Revolution
Yep.
episodes that we did. You
Yeah,
almost
that's the next step.
and it's I think that in many respects it's the modernization. It's the beginning of modernization. No, it's very complicated, as Trevor would say. This is, of course, long before the Industrial Revolution, but nevertheless, politically speaking, it changed a lot, and it set up a lot. And the world that that World War One, was when it exploded. It was the world that Bonaparte and what all that happened created. It goes back. You remove that the wars of religion and all the revolutionary times and stuff like that. It's kind of like we're going to wrap that up. And nobody, we're talking about this in the show prep. Nobody could have expected this. I don't think. I'm of the opinion, and I'll let you guys weigh in on this. Bonaparte, something that in his space was inevitable that changed things after the French Revolution. Something had to happen. But what?
Yeah, I mean, all of the forms that they had experimented with were failing.
Mhm.
And so there's an opportunity for an opportunist
Oh, he's definitely that. Yes.
like Bonaparte
Mhm.
to remake and charge to the forward position and see what happens.
That's right. I actually had at Bellarmine. I had this era as one of my history classes with Maggie, and it was amazing the way that she talked about this because we covered the French Revolution.
I can listen to Maggie Mahoney read out of the phone book.
That's right, absolutely, and it was just I still remember this.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, that's true. But I'll never forget that when we talked about we transitioned from the French Revolution into Bonaparte. She says something about the French people demanded the waters to be calmed, and the only way to do that was at the point of the sword.
Well,
That
There's
happens a
truth in that.
lot.
there's truth to that, but I want to point out, so I want to lay out a couple of things. I think this is important because, and I was reading this recently, and it's very true. It just kind of crystallized my thinking on this very well. And I forget who wrote it, but I just recently, like within the last week, the American and French revolutions are often conflated. In other words, they are joined together as if they are related things. They are coincidental in timing.
Oh, I like that.
They do have a root cause that
No, they do
Well,
not share a
it is-
root cause.
Not a root cause, but
Not even a
desire
philosophical.
for
one
freedom.
one leads to the other, though.
No, I don't think
That's,
it does.
That's the argument
I think
what you're
that's
reading,
the argument. Yeah, it's because if you look at the American Revolution was a revolt by the educated mercantile class.
Yeah, it's a middle class rebellion.
Right.
Yeah.
There is no middle class in France.
Right.
So, and it's a mob
But that-
revolution.
Yeah. You're absolutely right there.
And the philosophical
100%.
underpinnings
Yeah.
are entirely
Our mob, it's
Yeah,
mob psychology
mob
related.
rule,
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that's why I say that they are coincidental in timing. They are not related
And I'm
in
gl-
philosophy.
I'm glad you
No,
brought that
you're-
up because
you're right. They're not related to
they're
philosophy.
commonly linked by historians. They're saying, "Hey,
Yes.
we caused that." No,
Right, and we did
didn't.
not.
The only thing that there was is, "Holy crap, a revolution can succeed." That's the best you got out of
Well,
it.
Maybe, yeah.
but it-
And that's the stretch.
Funding us did help break their
Yes.
economy.
That's correct. And to say
I mean,
there's
so,
no
I mean,
link,
it-
Andre's right. There is a link there.
There is a link,
but it's
it
not what most people
exacerbated
think.
their economic
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
But yes,
To me, that's a coincidental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
we give
it's-
too much credit to the American. That's very American of us to give us ourselves
Yeah, well,
credit.
Well, but I think a lot of historians, whether they're go ahead.
for consideration, I think that at the root cause there was a desire for freedom and quality leadership on both the side of the French and the Americans that drove the desire for rebellion.
Well, see, I think the type of freedom, all rebellions are seeking to overthrow whatever yoke you think you are being
Tied
trodden
to,
under.
yep.
Okay, but the yoke in France was far different than it was in the U.S. because, as Martin put it so succinctly, it was a middle class. It is the only
I mean,
middle class
when you really
revolution.
examine it, we didn't actually have it all that bad.
We did not.
I mean, we were bitching about stuff,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Well,
a
we
lot
were-
of the Brits backed down on a lot of it once we started bitching,
Well, and
it's kind of like
and the things that we're bitching about
You know.
as Americans were things that only people who have in very similar way a very modern almost 20th 21st century type of sensibility in the sense that people who have sufficient income to have leisure time to read, write, and think,
Yeah.
have economic interests beyond where am I going to get my
they understood
food
their,
today.
Yeah, they understood their traditions.
And interested, yeah. So that is to me that is an entirely different
Yeah.
setup.
Yeah, they thought they were
Well,
being denied their
It's,
traditions.
one of the things that it's still to this point in America, the big thing that we're always bitching about are first world problems.
Yeah.
It's just the timing.
Yeah, I mean,
was
to a
different.
degree, you're right.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are.
but-
And
Well,
and
that's
France at
because
the
that's the
time-
only kind of problems we have.
Exactly.
I mean, Jefferson was PO'd about his debt.
Yeah,
And
in
Washington,
France
they
at
all
the
owed
time-
money.
Yeah.
France at the time, for the majority that was, for everybody that wasn't the king and the elite, it was a third world.
Well, yeah, you can. Yeah,
That's
I think
not too far off,
I think
yeah.
that's a really interesting way to put that because you're right. Our problems are if you want to talk about modern parallels. American Revolution was a first world issue. French Revolution would have been very much like a third world because you're talking about people that had nothing,
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
especially in Paris, which is
especially in Paris.
yeah,
But I mean-
because it's food riots.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's the same as you have in most third world countries where you have mob rule for overthrowing the government.
Right.
It just
and
you
then
know,
and they elect some strong man who comes in
exactly
Right.
and
i.e.
begins to steal his own
Napoleon.
treasury. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly, and this is where I wanted to go with that.
That's
So,
right.
in the American Revolution, that's one of the reasons I think why ours is really the only successful
I
revolution
agree. I
in
agree.
history.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that we weren't coming from such a negative, total poverty,
Mhm.
oppressed state to where because the revolution and the excesses of a revolution are in direct proportion to the oppression that causes it.
Truth. Absolutely.
So that's why ours really,
We-
within a couple of generations,
yeah.
I mean, we're best friends.
Yeah, we left retribution aside.
We did.
Well, and we also
Well,
had-
we also couldn't really inflict retribution.
Well, I mean, but you could on the loyalists.
Well, oh yes,
I mean,
yes.
the ones that stayed behind the loyalists. I mean,
We just-
they could have hung every one of them, and
Yes.
and didn't. There was no bloodbath after
no,
hours.
we let them go, and if they wanted to become Americans, they could, but that was
could.
not normal.
And if
That
you
was
wanted to
most
go
of
back
us.
to Britain, you could. And there was not a bloodbath after hours.
Well,
It's very interesting that you say that, what Robert, you've kind of spiked me to think about this, because when we talk about strong men, and strong men are always the result at the end. One of the advantages the American Revolution had to staying power is because our strong man, George Washington, was very different
Yeah.
than Bonaparte.
Yeah.
Because and yet they are both the quote unquote saviors. They're the ones that let's remake this. They were given, for whatever reason, the ability to remake their countries.
Yeah.
And Washington chose a different path.
But Washington also was not operating in a vacuum like Bonaparte was.
Well, and let's talk about that. You're exactly right, because the place was a disaster in France. They had tried 3 times, and I will go back to something that Andre was talking about here. It wasn't just the peasant revolt. It was that, but there were the revolution itself. There were idealists. And,
Yes.
and they brought
Yeah.
in new ideas,
Well,
some of which was inspired
yeah, I
by
mean,
a little bit of America, but
Right.
mostly it was.
Right.
This is the Voltaire type
We
stuff.
didn't have the factionalism they had.
That's right.
So I mean, they've got monarchists and the Girondists and the Jacobins and the Republicans and then the moderates and extremists, and they're all over the place.
They could not get their collective poop in a group.
Exactly. They
love
could not
saying
get their
that.
poop
Well,
in a group. So
That's
they-
because the French Revolution was a civil war.
yeah, it's that too. Yeah,
It was
It
a
was-
class warfare too.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
but the point is,
Yes,
it's all
it's everything. at
Frenchmen
once.
against Frenchmen. By the time the American Revolution comes around, yeah, we were all Englishmen. Yeah, but
But
not
not really.
anymore. Not anymore.
Okay,
Well, you
and,
know.
and that is exactly that's another aspect.
So yeah, I mean, it's important to understand these settings of what's going on. You've got the revolution. You've beheaded the king and the queen, and everything's a giant mess. You've gone through a couple of different setups. You've decided to, throw the money away basically, and come up with a whole new monetary system that didn't work because you guess what? Overprinted
Yeah,
the
that's right.
currency. If you print money, all you're doing is raising prices.
That's right.
So they screwed up the economy. They dislodged themselves from the anchor of religion. France was a very religious society.
Yeah.
The eldest daughter of the church.
They decided to kick all that to the curb. But then it's like, well, now what do we do? Well, we're going to have this like religion that's the temple of the state or something.
That's right. That's Robespierre and all
Robespierre and all-
that hogwash.
They went to
Poppycock.
10-day weeks instead of 7.
And
They had
some
no,
of it is
no Sundays to go to church.
You know what?
They
That
made
10-day week thing. That's the metric system gone wild.
Yeah, and so they made up new months, and I mean, so
See,
they
it's-
tried to
it's-
overturn everything everybody
and
knew.
and I think there's a kernel in there, a red hot center in that stuff, because they were given essentially unlimited power to remake
Yeah, I
society.
mean, it was a
and they
blank
decided
slate.
let's just go crazy.
Yeah.
Let's upturn everything. They didn't realize that that's not their mandate. That's not what anybody
Well,
wanted.
and when you're in the countryside as a peasant, you don't care that they've renamed the months. You're just trying to get the damn harvest in,
That's right.
or you're just trying to get stuff in the ground.
Yeah. But if you're in
And
if you're
then
in the
all of a
streets
sudden,
Paris,
yeah, all of a sudden, some guy's coming around saying, "Well, this month doesn't exist anymore. It's now called Fructador." You're like,
Oh,
I
Martinism.
don't give a shit. I've got
you
work
should-
to
you
do.
should-
Yeah, hold on.
hold on.
Word boner.
Yeah, Fructador.
Sorry. Yeah.
Loving it. I'm sorry.
They did. They literally renamed the months.
Yeah, absolutely.
and made 10-day weeks. And okay, well, their Sundays don't exist anymore, so you're not going to mass.
Yep.
And just they uprooted
Well-
all the traditions and all the things people knew, and said, well, now we have this whole new society, and people are like, we don't care.
Yeah.
We're just trying to eat.
Well, which is a hotbed, a fertile ground for authoritarianism, because that's
Yeah.
what they're doing. Is
Yeah.
they're trying to be authoritarian, but there's 60,000 of them that's trying.
Well, and see, this is part of the problem with revolutions in general. Again, Americans were not trying to replace. I mean, in our mind, it was authoritarian only in the sense that you won't let us play with your toys.
Yeah, you won't let us say what we want to say, or
And you're taking our money.
And you're taking our
Your money.
which is far different than
Always
you
follow
know,
the money.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
far different than we're going to throw you in the Bastille because you sneezed on some pissant guard as he passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's total
you didn't take your
arbitrary.
hat off to some duke, and now he's got the power to have you
Right, he's
Yeah,
going to rape
to-
your wife and kids, and you're going to
go to
lick
jail.
his boots,
Yeah, and you have
literally to
all
clean
of your
you know.
property taken from you.
Yeah, so it's
So-
it's a very arbitrary kind of evil that is inflicted upon them, and so it is the only system that they know, and this is the problem with all failed revolution. Which again, other than ours, they're all failed revolutions because the revolutionaries never stay in power, and that is that they always replace what they are angry with something very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind
Now,
of that's how Bonaparte
France
rises. Yeah.
just went crazier than most of them, with the renaming of the days and getting rid of the all that kind of stuff, and it just because they had total control.
Yeah.
In the sense that there was no control.
Yeah.
Because again, in France, only Paris matters.
Yeah.
For
And
the most part.
everything they put forward was ineffective. It was factionalized. They had the 5-man directory was supposed to be the executive branch, but a 5-person directory with 3 of them are in one faction and 2 of them are in the other faction, and you got to have 4 to pass anything. Guess what? Nothing's going to work.
Yeah.
And so,
Welcome to government.
that makes the legislature ineffective and the executive ineffective, and something's got to. I mean, you still got to get stuff done.
I want to
It's
bring
a
up
huge
I
mess.
want to bring up a point in this milieu, as
Hold
we
on.
often.
Yep, I love that one.
Yeah, that this is that fertile ground. We have to recognize that France's enemies are all over this. Britain, in
Oh,
particular.
they're scared to death.
Well, they're that, and they will contain this, at least as far as Britons
yeah.
go. And that's one of the things that really coalesces by pushing from the external pressure. It births Bonaparte because you have
Right.
Toulon in particular is the one moment that he has that he becomes. They don't have anybody. The military's kind of upended. Nobody seems to know anything.
It's been gutted to a degree because again,
Right. Well, that's
if-
because
if
it was
this-
all aristocracy.
yeah,
that
if
was
this
running it.
if
The
this general's a
officers-
monarchist, then you got to get rid of him. And,
That's right.
and this
And
one's a-
very few people knew. And of course, Napoleon, he's Corsican, so he's gone through all of the. He's been fully trained.
well, and he kept his mouth shut.
And he kept his mouth shut. He's smart enough. He's able to, nobody, because he's Corsican, nobody pays him a whole lot of attention. And until it's one of those fateful moments that he's sent to Toulon, which is under siege by the British, because it's a harbor. They want that. That's where the French Navy is, and that's usually their home base. And so Britain, wanting control of the seas, they're going to be all over this thing here. And Bonaparte, who has, who's brilliant. There's no question.
He
that
has
you
some
have-
military
when
talent.
it comes to military talent, this guy here, he's very revolutionary in his thinking.
no pun
No
intended.
pun, well, actually, pun entirely intended. But yes,
He's primarily an artillerist, right?
he is. He comes from that. He's
So he understands the power of massed artillery.
He does, and that's something that in Toulon was very necessary because you've got ships in the harbor, British ships in the harbor. He's able to, and the Ridley Scott movie actually shows all this, and he does it pretty accurately about how he basically the British, they think the French are fools. They're dumb. They're frogs. They're basically drinking because they've taken over all the fortifications there, and this is on French territory, mind you. So and everything else has been there've been jokes, and Bonaparte
Well,
comes
they
in.
don't even have their own language. They just have that accent. They all sound like Maurice Chevalier.
and they
Charles Boyer.
Charles Boyer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Outrageous accent.
Oh yes, you silly king. But Bonaparte goes in, and he's able to, with just enough of his personality, remind them of their past greatness. Because let's face it, there has been some, and he whips them into shape. And through a lot of luck and bravado is able to take back Toulon very quickly.
Yeah.
Again, the British that were there, they didn't think this was possible. They weren't paying attention. So
Yeah, I mean, he has successes in the Mediterranean and in Egypt.
that's later, but yes,
Yeah,
that's
later.
where.
But he has successes as a general during the Revolution,
Uh-huh.
during all this period when they're switching back and forth, legislature, the Directory, the whatever, the Reign of Terror,
Committee of Public Safety.
Committee of Public Safety, all these things. He's having some military because while they're doing all this, you're right. They're at war on multiple fronts.
That's right.
The Austrians, the Brits, and all this.
Yeah,
other.
that's right. And in Italy
Right.
is
All these monarchies that, as Francis said,
Yep.
want to make sure this stays contained and
because
does
they're
not.
scared to
that-
death.
That's correct. Everybody's against them, and they're worthless. They're butterfingers. And Bonaparte's the only one. It's the only victory, and so he's brought back to Paris after this as a minor hero, and he's put in charge of quelling the dissent locally. He fires on his own people at one point here, but he stops it. He
the whiff of grape shot.
That's
thing. Yeah.
it's exactly right, and I mean it's a you could call that very effective. It was. You could also call that a massacre. It was.
It was.
Well, massacres generally tend to be very effective.
That's
in the
right,
moment.
and it's I mean we the entire like the Boston massacre, which was extremely small.
It's like half a dozen guys.
That's right, but it is revered as one of those moments here. This is kind of the opposite of
Well,
that.
it's revered for, I think, for a lot of reasons. One, because it is unprecedented
That's right.
in both, at least in American experience, not necessarily in British experience,
Right.
but in American experience, and that was shocking.
It is, and ironically, this is that perfect antithesis because it's exactly the same thing on a much larger scale, and yet it doesn't galvanize. It subverts.
Well, and I
the
think-
people all of a sudden, holy shit, they're gonna shoot us.
Well, and I think that's the difference, though, again, between the nascent United States and European. We've talked about this before.
Uh-huh.
In Europe, everybody's unarmed, right?
That's right. Generally speaking,
Generally speaking, because monarchs have realized an unarmed populace is much easier to control.
yeah, they've got pitchforks and
Exactly.
and that's about it.
Whereas in the U.S., what would become the U.S., in the colonies, you need to be armed because there's all kinds of threats that the Europeans don't have to deal with.
well, yeah, and it's also it's
That you were hunting all your food.
That's right.
Exactly.
Again. There's cultural differences here, especially in Paris, and that's where
Yes.
that's where the red hot center of this is, and that's what leads Bonaparte during this time to take command and take charge, and all of a sudden he's the cause de célébrer, and it's that point where he is
Right. I mean,
thwarted by
it's a
factions.
it's a rocket ship
Yes.
rise. I mean,
Yeah.
again, he's like a this colonel of artillery
Yeah.
who all of a sudden is the central hero
Mhm.
of France
Well, and I think
militarily.
militarily, yeah. I think where Bonaparte is different than both who came before
Yeah.
in military,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be French, English, or whatever, and those he fought, probably Wellington aside,
Right.
is that he was willing to be bold, to try
Yeah.
things
Oh, you're exactly.
differently.
Yeah, he was
He was willing
audacious.
to
Yes.
throw the book out.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Rewrite it
Whereas
himself.
when you look at military tactics at the time, they formed up in these large blocky squares
Mhm.
and they fired volley after volley at each
Yes.
other.
Mhm.
And
turns.
well, you pretty much have to take turns because you got to reload.
Yeah.
Well,
So I mean, it's not so much they're taking turns, but it just looks like that.
You
But
know.
essentially, that's how it works out.
oh
there.
yeah. Well, I mean,
And-
the British were just great about that.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
the
who
tactic-
fired that shot? You're going to lose a turn.
That's right.
We're gonna take two.
The tactics worked very well, and Napoleon worked in columns.
Yes.
He
Yes.
actually, and which it ultimately is his undoing. We'll talk about that.
So
in another episode.
what's the quote? Audace,
Audace,
toujours,
l'audace. That's right. That's
audacity. Always be
always
bold.
be-
Right. Yes.
and that-
Exactly.
and that's
I wasn't even thinking about that quote, but you're right. We had talked about that.
that's
yeah.
Frederick the Great, mind you. That's not.
But it's
Bonaparte,
Napoleon
it's his tactics.
steals it,
It's absolutely
yeah.
what it is.
What does it mean?
Audacity, audacity, always audacity.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget what episode we talked about that, but we've talked
Well,
about that.
the most famous version of that's in the movie Patton.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I think we did. Didn't we do a Frederick the Great episode?
No, we didn't, and perhaps
don't
we should have.
But I think
God.
I think we did a Patton episode. That's probably where
we did, and that's where that I'm sure that's
I
where
thought
it
we
came
did a
from.
Frederick episode.
No, we
No,
haven't.
but,
That's
I mean, Napoleon. One of the things with Napoleon was he had no problems with slaughtering whoever needed to be slaughtered to get what he wanted accomplished. Even if that meant costing a good portion of his own troops.
no, I don't know if I would say
he was
that.
good at bluffing it too.
Yes,
was-
and he did bluff a lot.
He had a,
he
his
could-
personality
Again,
was that.
he could roll out the cannons, fire a few shots,
Mhm.
scare the pants off everybody. They would take off, and everything's over.
Well,
Well,
but
and
that's yet
In
to come.
Paris, that works. On the battlefield, that's not always.
Well, and you're right. And what happens after Paris is he's given command of his own army in Italy, and this is the moment where all the others would fail. Anybody else other than Bonaparte, they've sent him away because they know that okay, we're calm now. Thanks. You go take care of
yeah,
this.
you go somewhere else.
You go
because
somewhere else.
We're scared of you.
We're scared of you. That's
I mean,
right.
yeah, it's sending away the most dangerous guy.
That's right, and
to
but
your-
but what he does is through his because he's much younger than this. We're talking northern Italy. They have been bogged down for a long time with just disaster after disaster, disease, all those
This is
swamps.
all
and,
Austrian territory.
it's all Austrian territory. So you're facing. They're in the Tuscany areas, and they're in the swamps. This is the same thing Charlemagne faced. It's lots of stuff that basically crap after crap after crap, and basically they're about ready to go home. And Bonaparte comes in, and he is quintessentially himself. This is where the Napoleon that the legend is essentially birthed, because he's given command of this, and these are guys that are much more experienced. These are much older. He's Corsican. He's got the accent. He's a foreigner, and yet through his personality, or as he would later say, his will. This is where it starts. And he is able to take command, and they trounce the Austrians. They take the whole territory. They push back because he's able to rally the troops and bring them together. He reorganizes everything. He's an artillerist. He understands very well how you marry cavalry, artillery, and infantry all together.
Yeah,
and the
I mean,
Austrians, they've never seen anything like this.
One of the first combined arms type.
That's correct. He's very
Theorists,
efficient. And
yeah.
again, all these ideas that he's had that are revolutionary, he's got the power now to put them in place, and they work. Nobody's expecting them. Nobody knows that they're coming.
Well, yeah, it's the people he's fighting are more concerned with. We're talking about when we get to the European wars, not the internal wars.
Right.
They're more concerned with the proper, perfected execution of known tactics.
That's right. Yeah.
Than they are with defeating the enemy, because they think the proper execution is how you defeat the enemy.
That's right.
Whereas Napoleon understands you defeat the enemy by overwhelming them, basically.
That's exactly right. And he's willing to do that, and he brings them in with him. Of course, victory after victory, it builds upon itself. And
This is also, I want to point out one thing here, because
ahead.
you said something that's very important, where he believes he does it because he imposes his will, basically.
Yeah.
This is where, in my opinion, again, I'm going by what you say, because you know me, I have prepared fully.
As fully as you're going to.
As
yes.
fully as I am going to, yes.
Seat your pants.
Exactly. This actually is also the beginning of his downfall,
Oh, absolutely.
because he starts believing his own press.
Eventually, that's exactly right.
Because he thinks he can impose his will on any situation. And that is the downfall of every dictator.
Yeah, it takes some time. It takes 15 years, essentially,
Yes.
for that to fully flower. But that's exactly right, because he's doing things here. And you have to remember, until essentially, Moscow, Napoleon's never been defeated.
Right.
And it's and this is where this starts to happen, is nobody understands, but he's able to, and this is personality, bring these people together.
Yeah.
And of course, all you got to do is give them victory. And what started out as a keep the invaders away from us turns out to be a war of conquest. And of course, this is where it changes.
Well, let's hold off on that, because that's part two.
Is it?
It's
No,
also
no,
part
no.
one.
Well,
His,
because we haven't even talked about the rise to power yet. We're
that's
still in the
but-
rise.
Yeah, but this
But I
this
mean,
comes
the-
from that.
Yeah, the
Because
failure.
the rise of his
Yeah.
power happens because of this.
Yeah, but right.
I mean, he's
so-
got the power before he starts the war of conquest. He has to.
Well, yes, but this is this. Let me make maybe I'm just not clear. This particular action in Italy is,
Move your cord. You keep the blue one. You keep
hitting it.
hitting it, and no, move it around your arm. You as long as it is inside your arm, you're going to keep hitting it. There
all
you
right.
go.
Sorry, I didn't even.
No, it's we can hear it. You can't because you're speaking because your arms are flailing all over the place. You're speaking like an Italian.
That's right.
Well,
not
he's pointing at me with
Or Corsican.
like an accusatory gesture there. So,
right because of what I'm saying is, in Italy, again he pushes them back. This is
Right,
not
right,
this is
right,
not an
right.
intentional conquest, but this is what it ends up taking. They take territory.
What year is this?
This is 1798.
Right. So this
1799.
is pre.
Oh yes.
Emperor.
Oh,
Right.
long
yes.
before because he's
Well,
got
not
to-
long before.
Well,
but
I mean, it
it's,
happens pretty quickly,
well,
but
that's
you're right.
that's the piece I want to get to
Yeah.
because I want to kind of fast forward you. So, yes, he becomes a military hero.
Yep.
Mhm.
He's back in Paris,
That's correct. That's what happens next.
and again, this
And he is
the
a
governing structure is the Council of 500, I
Right.
think is what
Yes.
they call the legislature, and the director is what they call the executive.
right.
One of the directors from one of the factions, and again, part of Bonaparte's rise is he never really, he kept his mouth shut about the factions. He didn't go one direction or the other.
And he would not allow
just-
any of them to own him.
Right,
That's-
right.
that's-
So
that's
he
deliberate.
basically was like, "Well, I serve France, that kind of thing. I'm above it. I will take orders from whatever, and will defend France." So he's back in Paris. One of the directors is planning to dump the directory and plan a coup, and he says, "You know what? This Bonaparte guy, he's the guy I got to have in my pocket."
Because he's the guy with the guns.
Yeah, he's the guy with the guns.
And everybody follows him. So you
And-
don't have to worry about factionization within the army.
Yeah.
He's
So-
taking care of that.
And this is again is what I said in our prep that there's a little smoke and mirrors to Bonaparte.
I'm
Yeah.
glad
There's
you're
a
getting
lot
there
of
because
smoke
we
and
need to
mirrors
get to
to
that.
Bonaparte.
Yeah, because this is what comes to be known as the coup of 18 Brumaire.
Mhm.
Again, some made up month. I don't even know when that really is.
November.
There you go. And so there's a scuffle, and his brother Lucian kind of comes to his rescue, and they get the elite military guard to say
Mhm.
the council's being threatened by
Yes,
brigands.
They've
and
attacked the general.
they've just rallied to your general, all this stuff. And so he manages, with some help from his brother,
Mhm.
to not only dismiss the legislature,
Yeah.
but
Oh, they were jumping out of windows.
yeah, and then this guy that kind of brought him into the whole thing, he screwed him over too.
That's right.
This the director Saez, I think is his name, and
Yes.
it's like, yep, I'm first
Mhm.
First consul.
Yeah,
I'm first
that's right.
consul. So there you go. This and historians tend to demark this moment
Mhm.
Mhm.
as the end of the revolution.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
Because
this is now the first republic
Yeah.
of France.
So yeah.
Mhm.
So
That's
part-
with
so part-
effectively a king.
well, that's right. I mean, yeah,
So-
because
so
it's the semantics are different, the language is different, but
But
ultimately,
he's the king.
yeah,
He's-
Bonaparte is supreme executive power.
So part one was the revolution. Part one was the revolution with, as Francis was saying.
Actually, part one was the leading up to the revolution. Part two was the revolution. This is our third French episode. It's killing me.
Well, yeah.
I was waiting for that.
We haven't
I
even talked
was
about
thinking- I was thinking of
surrender or cheese or anything.
I was thinking of it along the lines of something that Francis said earlier. The peasants are revolting, and that's right.
That's right. They
stink
on ice.
Oh,
Yeah, and-
So that was part one.
Right.
Sir, the peasants are revolting. No kidding. They stink on ice.
yeah.
And it was good to be the king, right up until then.
Yeah.
You guys.
It's always good to be the king until they lop off your head.
Isn't it though?
Well, not if you control the military, which is what Bonaparte essentially
did.
did. Yeah, that's right. He he walked in through that door, and ultimately that's what kept him in power. Now, eventually,
But you're very much right that this is the clamoring for a calming of the waters and
Yeah.
end
and
an
he,
end to the street violence and end to the
who's in charge
beheadings.
today?
Yeah. and all the turmoil, he ends that.
That's right. Which is probably a very good place for us to slide into, shall we say?
Bourbon break,
Yes,
which is a rather ironic term today.
Yes.
It is. That's right. Because we kicked out the Bourbons and brought in the Corsican usurper. We're drinking,
foreigners.
boys. Yeah, that's right. What?
Well, let's start with Brother Andre.
Yes. What you
Since
drink
we're here in
That's right. We didn't even
Studio
talk
A.
about where we are.
No,
Yes.
Studio A
This beautiful house.
in Brother Andre's, yes, very beautiful library.
The winter landscape outside. the
Yes.
window.
That's true.
Yeah,
Snow
well, hell with
everywhere.
that.
we're all tired of snow at this point.
I'm ready for April, brother.
Here amongst the elites and their castles.
That's right.
I'm waiting for Bonaparte to come in and lop off my head.
Yeah, the Duke of Middletown over here.
Robespierre would probably be the one to come in and lop off your head.
True.
That's right. What you
Today
drink?
I am drinking Henry McKenna 10-year-old bottled in bond.
Oh, good stuff. Yes.
That is one of Martin's favorites, I believe.
And a Francis Fave as well.
That's
Actually,
right. Yeah.
I think it was Martin who introduced me to this
Yes.
Good stuff.
several episodes ago, and I brought this, and I haven't tasted it in months, and it's like welcoming back a friend. Some tasty notes of brown sugar and vanilla, and a very, very sweet bourbon, which is one of my favorites. And
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had some of that, but I do remember that being an excellent. I mean, it's hard to go wrong when you age something for 10 years.
That's right. Yeah.
there is a bourbon we'll discuss here in just a moment that I'm going to discuss the color of, which this one is a very light color, but there's some
It is, yeah.
Yours is fully bloomed too, right? Yeah.
fully bloomed, and it actually this is one of the few bourbons that I enjoy quite well unbloomed.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
then
What's the proof on that, if you don't mind my asking?
bottled in bond would be 100 proof.
Yeah, I see it there. Yeah.
But in this one, it's very sweet, very delicate taste on the front end, unbloomed, and as it's bloomed and got a little bit, I'm picking up some bitter notes on the end of the tasting. I don't know exactly what it is, but anise maybe.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
you can
I
always
think
add
you're right.
salt to it.
I don't
Take
need
out
to.
that
I just need
bitterness.
to drink it faster
Oh,
so it
okay,
doesn't
yeah.
bloom.
Yeah, because we're too busy talking. We're not drinking.
Yes.
And I understand the conflict there.
Especially this group.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real dilemma.
Well, I
Drink
mean,
bourbon or talk.
I finished mine.
I was going to say, what were you drinking there, Martin?
So I poured you and I both the Old Forester 1910.
Oh, okay.
Old fine
I
whiskey.
was going to say, because most of mine's still in the glass, but yours is gone.
Yeah. Well, that's how good it is.
Well, it is. I
It's
mean,
gone.
I might think this might be my favorite. If you were to give me all the options in the world,
It's
and
really
tell me-
hard to beat.
Tell me,
It
pick,
really
tell me to
is.
pick one. I think that probably would be it. Yeah.
And that's the one I was talking about, the deep color in.
Yeah, because I'm still most of mine's still in the glass, and the ice is melted, and yet it is a deep brown amber, whereas yours is light. It's almost orange.
Yeah, mine looks like dehydrated.
Yeah.
Man,
So this is, but as we know, 1910 is very. I call it thin. It's slick. It's not. It's not. It's light.
Give the Imperator. He
Let
wants,
the
he wants
Imper-
to put the French nose there to it.
Yes. Let's let the beak have a chance here.
But we've had 1910 many times
Many
on
times.
the show.
That's right.
It's excellent bourbon. Appears in a scene in my writing project.
There you go, Daddy. Oh,
So,
that's right.
We know it's what I like about it. It's multi-layer on the flavors. You'll get
It
one,
is.
then you get another, then you get another. So
That's
it has a little sweetness.
It's
and a
the
little bit of-
complexity is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
It is,
Yeah.
and yet it's not brute force. It's not in your
Right,
face.
right.
It's very
You know,
It's a very-
exquisite.
Refined.
There's
Yes,
the
yes,
word. That's
yeah.
the
It's
word
a
I'm
very
looking for.
refined blend of.
That's right.
of
It's
taste.
got a little
and-
nuttiness and a little sweetness and a
Yeah.
little.
It's actually
Excellent finish. I mean, it really is. It hits all of the parts you want to
It
get.
does. Stays in the mouth mostly, and I like that. There's a cleanliness to it when it's finished. I mean, I'm just
A little brown sugar on the tongue. And,
yeah, that's right. But
You know, Martin, you mentioned something about that making an appearance in one of your scenes. And I have often been regretting one of the decisions that I made for the main character in my novel.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So he is he has a very tragic backstory. His mother gets killed, which leads to his father starting to drink, and essentially his father drinks himself to death. and drinks and grieves himself to death over the loss of his wife and the disappearance of the older brother.
Mhm.
So my main character does not drink.
Ah.
So it's really hard to work bourbon into my book.
Yeah, especially so much of it takes place around this area here.
Yes,
Both of your all's
Yes.
novels
Yes.
do that.
Matter of fact, my climax in the first book takes place in Bardstown.
Well, see, there you go. It's about as bourbon-y as you
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
So I often, because originally I did have him be a drinker, casual drinker, but that just doesn't make sense. He
You're right.
needs to not be a drinker.
You've walked yourself into a corner that you kind of have to follow.
Right.
Corridor you have to follow, I guess.
Right. I mean, I could have had the dad die some other way, but I think I think the way I like the way it works.
You figured it out. That's right.
And
Sometimes
it is
we
just,
have to.
and actually it's part of a backstory scene that works so well. I wouldn't want to change it anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, you find that way, and your characters tell you what you need to be, despite yourself sometimes.
Yep.
So, a quick update on your writing project, Robert.
Oh, sure.
So
okay.
you're not just working on one. You have a plan that covers. Is it
I have a very
4?
I have a very broad outline for 4, maybe 5 follow-on books. It really depends on.
So you're
how I
talking
finalize.
a minimum series of 5 then.
Most likely, yes.
Right.
Certainly, I mean, I could probably go 4. But 4 just seems like an odd number for a series. That you should be 5, 6. 4 just seems too short.
Well,
Well, I mean, Harper Lee only wrote 1.
right.
So I mean, it's
You're
okay.
okay.
Yeah, but
well, it's
it's
true.
follow the road where it takes you.
Oh,
you know?
correction,
Four makes
she
for a
wrote
wonderful
2.
trilogy.
Yeah, I
What?
mean.
4 makes for a wonderful trilogy.
It does, but
Douglas
I'm not
Adams.
Douglas Adams.
But
Actually, for that, 5 makes a good
5,
trilogy.
yes.
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, so, but you're making some progress.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Moving along.
I am. I have. This year has been since Christmas, or well, not Christmas, since early January has been very difficult to get consistent time in. But
Yeah.
anyways, but yeah, I'm still slogging away at it and working on what I'm calling draft 4, but it's probably.
Yeah.
Scenes have been gone over so many times. It's probably
Draft 48?
Yeah, it's-
Yeah. I mean, I just consider mine an evergreen draft, and I don't even keep track.
Well, see, I
of
like
any of that.
versions.
Yeah.
I did that with the first one. I don't later. It just didn't. Things change. What works. Sometimes you just kind of muddle your way through in the darkness, and you don't really know what you're doing.
A question for our writers: are you ever done writing a book, or do you just walk away from it and start something else?
You have to walk away and start something else.
Well, yeah.
I think most authors will tell you that if you don't consciously quit, you'll never.
You always want to.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah, you'll always want to. You may not, but you would always want.
well, yeah. I've read with Red Moscow. Once it's published, you're kind of there.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
done.
Well,
You
yeah.
can't change it again.
Well, that's not entirely true because once you're really big and famous, you can go back and release new editions.
Well, Mick's
with
done that.
added material and things.
Yeah,
like
well, and our buddy Mick,
Oh.
he did that with one of his earlier books, and he's just recently re-released it because he wanted to change it. I found a little bit of that. I've recently been working on. I think I told you guys the audio version of Red Moscow. I did get the rough draft all recorded, and I discovered I had to change a few things just for the medium. I can't speak Russian, and other than the proper names of main characters that I've learned how to say, I can't really talk about a lot of these place names and stuff like that in Russian. They're just too complicated. So I kind of had to adjust around all that to do this, so it sounds, because you don't give a rat's ass in your ear about the street name. You really don't. Whereas, yeah, it's kind of a cool little thing in print. Okay, this is a real place. I get it. It's just you find things are a little different, and it's. And I also think I overwrote a little bit in there. It's the first book. I've discovered that. Yeah, that I didn't need that. That's so to answer Andre's question, shit, yeah, you're always tinkering with it.
Well, but one of the things,
Even when it's,
that most writers run into is it's over when the publishing deadline is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean,
That's right. It's done.
that's it. And
The
you may be
problem
doing
is
it right
with
up to
some
the last
authors
second.
is actually getting to that point because
Yeah.
I've told you guys the story. I wish I could remember the guy's name, but he really talked about doing 70 and 80 drafts.
Oh,
Good
my Lord. Yeah.
And he would talk, and his thing was, I may only change 10 things in each draft in the last 50 of them or whatever. And I'm like, if you're at the point where you're only changing 10 things,
not a
you are
draft.
done.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's not a draft.
Somebody needs an editor to just
Well, that's the
run their
thing.
butt.
He doesn't need an editor so much as he needs somebody over him saying, "You're done."
Yeah, a
That's
Write the
manager.
next book.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Because realistically, yes, you may now, literary fiction, which the nose in the air, where you craft that language so beautifully, maybe that's what he's going for. But even then, that's just
well,
nuts.
yeah. It just sooner. That's one of the lessons that the more we do this, I think, and I'm Robert. I think you're saying the same thing. I would say is that you have to declare a victory at some point and
Yeah.
and send it out into the world.
You either have
Victory
to
or
declare,
surrender.
yeah. Well, and I'm gonna say
Yeah,
it's
or
either victory-
surrender and say I'll never publish and
Exactly.
go away. That's right.
Yeah.
But man, I'm telling you,
And a good
if
deal.
if it's got the legs to get to 48, whatever how many drafts the guy did, it's got to be good enough.
Exactly.
You don't
Exactly.
you don't waste that much time.
If you were changing 1,000 things every draft, okay. But at that point, it's like,
That-
Those are all just one draft, and really. So
well, that's right. Well, but and I want to make sure before we finish up. Two things, Robert. What are you drinking?
I am drinking something brand new for the show.
oh yes, yes.
we hadn't done that yet.
We have never had this bourbon on the show before.
Drum roll,
which is
please.
amazing because it's a very famous bourbon.
Mhm.
And this is Willett's.
Yes.
That's right.
And
lovely
Brother Andre
bottle.
was very gracious and let me open it. Because I always, if there's an unopened bottle, I always like to ask.
Right.
I think if anything that's open, it's fair game.
He gifted me with a bottle of it, and we drank half of it, and my daughter stole it.
Ah.
But it's fantastic. Yeah.
So this is a small batch bourbon. It is made in Bardstown,
Willett Distillery, which
Willett
is
Distillery.
literally across the street from Heaven Hill.
And it is 94 proof. So that's a good, to me, lower end proof. I know for a lot of people think this is a more of a sweet spot for them, but I like the higher proofs. It's good. It is a very good bourbon. Do you remember what the list price on this was by any chance?
I want to say 60, but that's a guess.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
'Cause, it has obviously a very distinctive bottle because it
Yes.
looks like a pot still.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
and-
is their claim. It's
As
called
a-
Willet Pot Still
yeah.
Bourbon.
Exactly.
Yeah,
As
and
opposed
it's
to a bong.
Yeah.
Yes,
It is a
exactly.
very strange. No other bottle has that shape. I mean,
Right.
That's deliberate on their part. And
Exactly. And it's part of the marketing, just like the red wax is for makers and so on.
but it's been very successful for them.
So it's not super complex, I don't think, but it's very pleasant. It's very, let's see here. Let's get a good.
Yeah, go ahead and take another.
I had the
swallow.
pleasure of driving past the distillery last weekend on my way down to Raywick, Kentucky.
That's right. We
Oh,
did.
my
We
Ooh,
goodness.
careful.
What in the world were you
Cornbread.
doing in Raywick?
No
He
comment.
was with me, so no worries. Okay.
Did you have a squad of Marines?
No, I'm from the area, guys. You don't have to
The
worry.
Cornbread
It
Mafia was
does,
on.
and yes, you roll your eyes, but damn, it does matter.
Okay.
I'm just from one county over. They all.
That just makes you a ferner there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had we did a
a training.
a training.
No, but you
Oh,
you have
okay.
teeth and everything.
You weren't visiting the cat house.
Man, you guys are disparaging on my family. Man, this is just so uncool. This is,
Anyway, back to the tasting profile of
yeah,
Willet.
let's-
Anyways,
I hate you, Cal.
what were you? So anyway, yeah. Let's.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
That's right.
Yeah.
Screw you guys.
Actually, I was trying to imitate Martin, but yes, it did sound like Eric Cartman.
Yeah. Screw you guys. So anyways, the will it is very pleasant. It's got an interesting mix of flavor, especially after it's bloomed a little. There's a lot of sweetness to it, almost sugary, depending on where it is in the blooming process.
Yep.
Which is kind of surprising because usually I don't think any of us really talked about just a raw sugary. We've talked about some brown sugar kind of stuff, which is probably the closest. But it also has a bit of you can tell there's a little bit of rye in here. I think as far as I know, this
Really?
is not a weeded one, so I presume this has got at least a decent amount of rye in it because I can feel that tingling on the tongue and in the mouth that a rye
That
produces.
peppery stuff. Yeah.
It's not real peppery.
Really.
not like a hot pepper, like a black pepper kind of thing, which
Right,
is
yeah.
what I usually do not like.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
I knew because that's why you're not a fan of rye.
Most ryes.
Most ryes, that's
Yeah.
right. There's a few
But
exceptions.
this one has that uh, it's not a burning exactly, but like I said, it's almost like
A warmth.
A pepper.
no. It's not quite a tingling, but it's almost as if you were using a electric toothbrush and you had run it all over your tongue and your mouth, and when you're done, you feel that little bit of that vibrating sensation left over. It's similar to that. Obviously, it's not vibrating, but
Damn, you should be a writer.
I-
Oh, wait a minute.
it-
Yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah.
but to me, that's what kind of reminds me of that after effect. It's not unpleasant.
That is a brilliant
and it's not.
image.
I don't taste toothpaste like Martin does with
Yeah, Buffalo.
Buffalo
Trace,
Trace.
yeah.
Yeah. Next time we're at my place, we need to open up that bottle because I think we all
Okay,
need
I'll
to.
try
There's
it
one right
again.
in there.
Yeah, we need to reevaluate
I'll do
that.
it again.
Yeah, and try to see because we've learned a lot since
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
the last time that's ever been tasted.
Yeah.
But before we get back to the Bonaparte business, your work in progress, Martin. We've asked.
Yeah,
certainly
so
about-
I'm
about-
very, very gratified to hear of Robert's progress, and I want him to know,
I
I so
appreciate that you are
appreciate-
always looking out to encourage me. I do.
Absolutely. Well, we
I want to
we
pay
must
that back
the
because
brotherhood encourages. Yes.
you guys have encouraged me so much. I want to make sure Robert knows he has our support.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to hear of his progress. At some point, I also want to hear of Mrs. Brother Andre's progress because she's dipping a toe into this. I understand. as
I was
well.
about to go there. Yes.
Yes.
And you guys, have you signed up for Imaginarium yet?
Not yet, but
You will. Yeah.
we're definitely going. And
Absolutely, yeah. I've got a table there, and so does Cajun. So we kind of have a home base that we can all land
Well, I
at.
thought I thought you were going to because you guys get what is it, like 4 each, 4 extra tickets,
Something like that.
4
yes.
discounted tickets.
That's correct. That's right.
So I thought we were all because if we're not, I need to know. So because I didn't buy mine when I was going to.
Yeah. Let me regroup and make sure where we are on that between the two of us, what we have,
Okay.
and what we have available.
Because I would have bought the discounted version back in
right.
September
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it first came
and
available.
we've got plenty of that. I think we have to make sure that everybody gets taken care of. We just have to run the numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
my
my-
point is, don't miss it because as you
Yeah.
learned,
It can be
it's the
very
thing.
encouraging.
Very encouraging. That's right.
I have been a lazy POS, and I have not finished, and I should have, because Imaginarium was in July. However, I am close.
Yeah.
I am close to having a evergreen actual draft of the full story completed to let you all alpha read.
Yeah, and I'm very surprised.
on what date?
that you,
I want a date.
Well, I have time off from work on Monday.
So
I-
Tuesday we can read it.
I'm hoping, yes, that I can
Oh,
plow
wow.
through the
Oh,
last
wow.
bit. Now, no promises, no promises.
Hey, and
But
let
I'm
it be.
close enough that if I could sit down and get this, because it's all up here.
Okay, yeah, there
It's
you
all
go.
up here.
By the time
I
you get
that
to the
last
last,
scene, I can get it out. I know what's going to happen. There's no questions about it. Everything's there. I just got to get it in a format that's,
Yeah,
that's
and,
on
well,
the page.
Hemingway was famous for saying the first draft of anything is shit. So expect that you just get it out, and we'll polish.
Yes,
we'll
yes.
help to get
Well,
that to where it needs to be.
and I've experienced that a piece at a time.
Absolutely.
Because that's always in my head. It's like, look, I know I'm thinking I'm struggling to get this out properly, but then I realize, just get it out.
Just get it out. That's
and
right.
then the juices will start flowing. I can go back and go, oh, I need to fix that. I need to.
That's
fix
right.
that,
Yeah,
I need
you'll
to fix
self
that."
edit several
And
times,
then
and
I'll
we'll be able to help.
And that's
you
why
with
I'm
that.
not worried about draft things because
Yeah.
I'll get a scene and I'll just get the scene in there, get to the place where it needs to go to, and then go back and go,
Yeah, that's
oh,
right.
I need to change this language. I need to change
'Cause
this.
after you've
statement."
read through it a couple times, oh no, wait a minute, this is better. This is better. This is better.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert will tell you because he saw some of the early drafts of Red Moscow at the end, and the ending sucked.
Yeah.
But it was just because I didn't know how. I knew how I wanted it, but I didn't really know how, and it took some time. And
Yeah.
eventually, it's one of the best parts of the book.
You
Which,
still screwed one of your main characters.
which one?
No comment. I don't want to.
Well, no, that's all right. Nobody's gonna. Hey, it's people that are listening.
tertiary, the secondary female lead.
You mean Jesse? I
Yeah.
screwed over Jesse?
Yes,
Well,
yes, you did.
Absolutely, I did. But that's the story
Absolutely.
because
you
I
gotta-
didn't like that.
well, you're not supposed to because you're supposed to read the sequel where things change a whole lot.
It better.
It did. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's the whole
You-
point.
In many ways, I like Jesse better than I do Tasia.
Absolutely, that's correct.
I
She's
do
one of
too.
she's one of my favorite
You
characters.
better get
and-
ready for some gut punches then when you read mine.
Well, see, and I love that's perfect language to do that because you're writing crime fiction. Hell yeah, you better have some.
People got to die.
That's correct. That's right. And you've got to have those moments where because yours does not have any of that romantic element or any of that sort of stuff. You could,
know that.
but as a I'm asking,
It's
but
got one tiny hint at a possible future relationship.
and that's relationships are really cool.
Yeah.
They really get people involved.
Mhm.
But crime fiction, it's about
Yeah.
the stuff.
Yeah, it depends on the
Your
genre.
genre very much
I mean,
dependent.
crime fiction. You could go either way, whether you include it or not, because you could have some hard-bitten cop that's got some, he's got his quote unquote side piece, but he's not married, so it'd be his only piece. But he's divorced, right?
No,
He's never been married.
he's a widower.
Widower. Okay, I knew. Okay, so well, yeah. See, in that case, he's probably not even interested in a regular thing.
Well, it's part of his redemption arc. Like I'm already thinking about what I might do with another one.
There
I'm
you go.
Jumping ahead.
Absolutely.
I'm jumping ahead. I'm like, I've got a way to redeem him both professionally and personally.
As our
down
good
the
friend
road.
Tony Acree would tell us, and that's one of the first things when I talked to him, and I think you were with me. Series is where it's at. A one-off doesn't. Nobody wants much of a one-off, but man, if you can bring back, he said, it takes good 4 or 5 books to really start actually getting some traction.
Yeah, and part of that's the way people read now.
That's exactly
a
it.
lot of people.
He's speaking
not
like
just
a publisher. Yes.
like a series, but they like for the series to be done before they start reading it, so that they can do it. Because like we binge watch
It's like wait for the whole Taylor Sheridan to drop before you binge watch the whole thing. Yeah.
exactly.
Because you'll just get mad. Oh crap!
Yeah,
And I have to wait. I get
That's
that.
a lot of work. That kind of
I believe
scares
I
me.
saw
But
something about
I'll try.
Sheridan. This is the last season for Landman.
No,
no.
Something like that.
Well, he
Well,
has
I
another
know
one
I know where
coming
you're going with
soon.
this.
Yeah.
Because if you watch Landman, not to go off on a tangent, but hey, we do that because I think most of us here have watched Landman season 2. They upended the status quo, and it's very, very different than and it's nothing anybody expected. Because what you've done for 2 seasons, you've kind of set this world, and now all of a sudden you've totally broken away from that and done something different. So people are saying, "Whoa, is this it?" But no, that's been renewed for season 3.
I tell you what,
Yeah,
season
that's what I
what's-
mean. Season 3 is supposed to be the.
No, that's, no.
Not necessarily, but he's running out of time though, so it could
Yeah.
well be because he's going to be moving over to was it HBO, Warner's, whatever. Because he's leaving Paramount. His
That's right.
contract has ended. and
That's
he's
right, yeah.
signed a new one.
Well, Paramount's about to be sold, I believe.
No, it's Warner Brothers is about to
Warner
be sold.
Brothers
That's
is-
right. Paramount's one of the bidders.
That would be ironic.
Yeah, Disney is not, but it's no, yeah, it's because
And I mean, say Warner basically owns everything that isn't Paramount. So
Or Disney.
I mean,
Or
yeah, or
Disney.
Disney.
That's
'cause, I
correct.
mean,
That's the other
all
3.
of the Discovery and all that's all.
that's all.
Well, I mean, it
already
still
Warner.
leaves. Well, yeah.
yeah, but that
But what's the new one with Michelle Pfeiffer and Kurt Russell that's coming?
that is the Madison.
Madison. Yeah.
And it was originally billed as being a sequel to Yellowstone because people went absolutely ape. You know what? Because Yellowstone ended.
Heresy.
Yeah, but it's not. It's really not. It's you basically had 2 prequels to that, and the Marshalls. There was a lot of talk about different things and all that, but ultimately it's landed where the character of Casey is going to be in the Marshalls series, which is actually on network TV. That's coming in March. And that's going to be the true continuation. The Madison is just another Taylor Sheridan project.
Okay.
It may be somewhat related. We'll have to see it. I don't know. It's from seeing the early trailers, it seems very different. But Taylor Sheridan's notorious for that. The Landman.
Yeah, he is-
Landman came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but you know what? First season of Landman is just Yellowstone with oil. It
It,
really is.
there's some truth to that. That's right.
It,
You know-
because it was one of the things that was really kind of disappointing about the first season. But the second season is not. Second season, he has redeemed the series in my eyes.
That's right. He's really showed that he's not afraid to go dangerous, and he's not afraid to change things. So
Personally-
Landman is, according to Billy Bob Thornton,
Mhm.
it's there as long as Taylor wants to keep doing it.
Landman,
And
you know,
it's been
I
renewed for
if
season
it,
3,
if
sure.
all Landman was Allie Larder, I would watch that show because she
you
is
would say-
freaking hilarious.
Well, she is. She's drop dead beautiful, gorgeous, but she's got such a meaty role because she's a crazy bitch.
She can, you know
but
what?
she's
She can
also a
choose
warm-
scenes
Yes, she
like
is.
nobody else.
She's fantastic, and because she's not what you expect, she should be a caricature.
Right.
And at moments she is, but
Yes.
generally speaking, she's not. And I'll make a quick confession before we get back to Bonaparte. If you remember the first season, something happens to her son, and she kind of goes nuts in the
Yes.
hospital. And Billy Bob Thornton says to her something, a line to the effect of, "Honey, I know you've got a Xanax in your purse. Why don't you go outside in the hallway, take one of them, come back in 20 minutes?" I have used that line on Mrs. Francis about 16,000 times.
That
And you're
didn't work
still
well.
alive?
Still
Still
alive.
have a head.
I still have it, yeah, because it's of course it's all tongue in cheek, but it's very funny. That's right.
Right.
It's one
Have
of
you-
Programming note to ourselves: we need to do an episode on the works of Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad
that's
idea.
exactly right. Yeah, because we're kind of doing it right now.
Okay,
That's right.
since you're already doing that, if you consider just carrying a spray bottle of water with you to,
Oh
you know.
shit!
You might as well just hit her in the nose with a newspaper.
Yeah.
I don't want to preach his funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have your funeral plan into the diaconate
gonna
office
say.
yet?
Sign the will, brother.
It was nice. It was nice to know you.
Thank you.
So anyway, let's wrap up Bourbon Break with there's unfortunately been quite a few people passed that.
Well, yeah, we need
Yes.
to finish
Yeah,
that
we need
and then
to
before
do-
we.
Oh my gosh, so many.
I know somebody that touches you guys is Sal Buscema that passed.
Yes.
That's correct, brother of John Buscema, who passed several
Little
years.
brother. Yeah. Several years ago. Yeah.
Sal was notoriously at Marvel Comics. I think his entire career was at Marvel. I don't know if he ever did beyond that, but he
He
was.
must have at some point.
You would think so, but he was the fixer. He was the guy that could always come in last second and do quality work and get a book back on track. But that's not what he wasn't a fill-in guy.
No, he wasn't.
he
But when
did-
he filled in, though, he did do a lot of fill-ins.
Yeah,
He was fast.
that's correct.
Part of the reason he was fast is that, and this is not a knock against him, is that he could be very formulaic at times in the sense that, like certain poses,
That's
are
a
Sal
fact.
Buscema.
Yeah, and the faces that he drew were
the-
always very similar. And
The thing about Sal Buscema, the quintessential Sal Buscema pose is somebody getting punched and flying backwards.
oh yeah, I
you know,
never thought about
Yeah,
that. but
that
you're
is
right.
yes.
Yeah, he did a
But
lot.
he could do a lot of detailed work as well, and his
Yeah.
detailed work was phenomenal.
when he was given time to do it. He really
Yes.
was. I mean, he was.
You can always tell the books that he was assigned to the last minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I mean, he literally
He's
came.
fairly famous for a kind of an extended run on Hulk.
Hulk.
right?
Absolutely.
Yes, he was the very late '70s, early '80s Hulk.
Yeah, he succeeded Herb Trimpe, who was also very good. Very good. I thought he was fantastic on the Hulk, although he did
He
tons
was.
and tons and tons of other stuff.
I didn't appreciate him when I was younger as much because I saw. Actually, I may not have seen Sal Buscema first,
Yeah.
but he was the guy that I had
Yeah.
most exposure to.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the Herb Trimpe stuff a lot better than I used to, but
Yeah.
that's true for a lot of artists.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's so many of them. You know, there's a few that I never cared for,
course,
but as a general rule,
He succeeded Marie Severin and some others that were on the Hulk.
oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on. We got to be real careful
Yeah.
how we do
Yes,
this.
but so
But a salute to Sal Buscema.
salute to Sal,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
And,
yes.
another creator
He's one of
from,
the
from back in that day.
He's
that
one of the
Bronze
originators of
Age.
that Marvel Works, the Marvel Revolution.
he's more the second wave.
That's right, but he's still part of that, which is now early.
Yeah, for us early. Yeah.
Yeah, where he was. I mean, he did so many books.
Yeah.
You would see him. He was always the catch-up guy, the fill-up guy, and
But along with
whatever it was.
along with like a John Byrne and a George Perez and the King,
yeah,
Jack Kirby defined Marvel's
very much him,
defined
along
Marvel,
with
especially the big
John
big name
Romita, who we've mentioned, and his brother John Buscema. I mean, we cannot underestimate. I mean,
Yeah.
so much of these guys,
Mhm.
and as somebody, you know, these guys were doing deadline work month after month after month and nailing it.
Most of them doing multiple books.
That's right. I mean, they're just there. I mean, you think about it, they're
Yeah.
slaving away at a drawing board all day long
And not getting
and never really.
Well,
no ownership of the characters or
No,
anything.
and so many times they're the ones that that when the guy, whoever it was, well, I mean, Buscema, his brother John Buscema, was the one that had to save the Fantastic Four when Kirby decided, I'm leaving. What?
Actually, Romita was first.
That's right.
John
That's
Romita
right.
did it
Romita
first.
did it for a while, and then it was Buscema.
And then Buscema had, and then Rich Buckler.
That's right, and so many Keith
But
Pollard
yeah,
and Byrne,
yeah,
and we go on and on.
on and on and on. So, but yeah, I know. I just wanted to mention him because I know it would touch you guys very closely.
But you had somebody else you wanted to remember.
Oh, we have tons of people that have done
Yeah,
it.
Bring it
so-
on, guys. Let's roll.
Well, the number one, Pete.
Oh, our buddy
Yes.
Pete. That's
I would
right.
like for you to give a little tribute to Pete
Oh, sure.
on
I mean,
air, so that it's on the internet forever.
well, yeah, that's right. Our buddy Pete, he was part of, his wife and my wife have been true friends for a long, long time. Their kids went to school with our kids. I would pick up his two sons and take them to school for like 6 years running every morning. So they were parishioners at St. Gabriel where I'm at for a long time. They eventually moved to St. Edward because they lived in that area. Our buddy Pete, his funeral, as we record this, his funeral was this past Monday. He died, would it be about 2 weeks ago from today, of a heart attack at 54 years of age. He was a ball player. He was a Bellarmine ball player.
That's right,
know-
in the Bellarmine Hall of Fame
Bellarmine Hall of Fame, yeah, because he went to play for the Padres
and the Dodgers.
and the Dodgers.
Well, he played in their minor leagues. He never played in the majors.
Right.
He
he-
never got to the show, but he did play in the minors.
and he was MVP at for some of the farm teams that he was
I
playing.
asked
for.
him once, why it was he because he voluntarily quit. It wasn't like they said. I asked him once, and he said, "Because couldn't hit the curveball,"
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is the downfall of most guys. That
yeah, can't hit a curve.
yeah,
so-
and he was he's such a. You all knew him. I know
he
that
was such a wonderful guy.
he was funny. He was
was fun to
absolutely
be
hilarious. He
around,
was absolutely. He
and
brought
a
that
big personality.
big personality. That's a great word for it. He brought charm
Mhm.
with him. He had a wickedly weird sense of humor. He had
Hang out with us, you'd almost have to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
and
mean,
it was-
to want to be around us at that time, it was
yeah,
you had
and
to-
I mean,
Minted comes to mind.
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
he was a wonderful guy.
a
Gone
nice
too
guy,
soon.
and was in my thoughts a
he
lot.
He
and
had his
this
own
was-
struggles,
Yeah,
and that's
Unfortunately,
not a
yes.
secret. We know that. He had addiction issues, and I say that on air because we talked about it at his funeral. His brothers brought it up, but it's
I was surprised the depth that his brother went into that.
That's
'cause
right.
I knew obviously about but he was very, very open and honest.
and
about
I
it.
think there's a
But
value to that. Yes,
There is because addiction issue. Now I don't know if this is the case with Pete, but addiction issues often have a couple of different, sometimes related sources.
Mhm.
Sometimes, as with Pete, I know there were pain issues because his was an oxy issue. If I
it
remember
was.
correctly,
It was.
yeah.
It morphed into that because it started where that was even much of a thing.
Right,
So it was
but-
pain medication, and I think some of it started when he was playing ball.
Right, because it would have been injuries sustained while playing. That's
That's
where
right. That's
'cause-
kind of where that started.
right.
All that.
And actually, that would have been around the time when oxy became a thing,
Yeah.
because that would have been the early '90s.
Yeah, that'd be about right. So yeah, he was.
So, but there's that. Then there's also mental health issues, and I'm not saying that
oh,
was
no, it's very
but
true.
That if it wasn't there at the beginning, it would have been there as a consequence of. They almost always go hand in hand.
It did. There was
And
a,
it's a very
lot of choices that he made
difficult-
that people questioned
Yeah.
that were difficult on that.
But what I'm saying is, it's a very difficult situation to not just handle, but even for outsiders to understand.
Yeah.
Very much so. He struggled with it. He was very well aware of it. He went to he would go to AA meetings almost every day. Literally, there was a time that he's constantly going to these meetings, trying to carry this cross, and it. And I will not say, because we do not know, if that had anything to do with how it finally ended. I do not think so. This was a heart attack. It just
Well, I mean,
happened.
it could have certainly contributed to his
Yeah,
health
it-
issues.
it
Did it or didn't? We don't really
Well,
know.
it sure as hell doesn't help.
Well, that's exactly right, and then there's a complexity there. But he was a good man, a good soul.
You know, I think I was telling you, or and I missed you at the vigil, unfortunately. But it wasn't that long ago before he died. Like within a couple of weeks, I had been thinking about Pete, wondering what he
how
was,
he was
up
doing.
to.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
He was umpiring. I know he's had different jobs at different times. I'm not sure what he was actually doing for his work, but
He had done a lot of sales.
he did a lot of that, and I know that he was doing umpiring because he loved the game. That's one of the things that we found out when we knew that that he baseball was I don't want to say it was his life, but he just
It was a
absolutely
passion. I
it's a
mean,
passion. That's a good word. That's
people who are into baseball, whether they play or not, it is a passion.
It's like they say that for the love of the game.
Absolutely.
He definitely had that, and even though most of our glasses are dry, we'll raise our metaphorical glasses
Yes, absolutely.
and
Pete.
give to our buddy Pete.
yeah,
And
he's just such a
may
funny,
he have found eternal life and
yeah,
peace.
fun to be around. And I thought about him often, and we had lost touch a little bit.
There were reasons for
And,
that.
yeah,
We
and
talked
he
a
had
little bit about
kinda
that.
took his life in some different directions, and we weren't around. But I thought about him often, and just didn't work out to get reconnected with him. And then hearing about his passing, it's just again 6 years younger than us, I think, or 5
about
years.
6, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
5 to
right.
6,
And
yeah.
for somebody
And
to
just-
pass away from a heart attack at 56 years of age, that's just
I tell you what,
just wrong.
so
many ways.
I think I forget
Oh
which
yeah,
one
four,
of you guys.
4 years of age. Yeah, because he was at Bellarmine in like 90, 91.
That's right. Yeah,
And you were out in
past-
87. I was out in 88.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. And
yeah.
you were 89, if I
Yeah.
remember right. Yeah,
Yeah, so actually he would have been there while we were there.
as freshmen
Or-
probably.
or-
yeah.
he probably started after me, but it was probably on when you were there.
depending on when he finished up.
Like
yeah.
he was a sophomore that 91 season. So
Right. Yeah.
So one of the things that I can't remember which one it was. Probably Francis, because I saw Francis most recently at Pete's vigil.
Mhm.
I do, other than like sometimes in the mornings or when it rains and my knee hurts. I don't feel the age that I am.
Yeah.
Mentally, I never feel
Yeah.
the age
Yeah.
that I am.
Your body
Well,
reminds you.
But my body does remind me on
Into
occasion.
that,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah,
You know,
hearing
it's like-
about Pete really did.
Well,
Well,
the whole idea of turning
crushing.
60 this year, when I turned 50, I thought it was a very surreal kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Surreal in the sense of like, how can I be 50? I don't even feel like I'm 40 yet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Other than those odd moments when my knee would give out and what have you. But 60 is it's beyond surreal.
Well,
And
It's a milestone.
It's not because milestone to me implies something good. 60
60's going to
This
be
is
rough.
good.
60 it's mentally rough to me because it's when you're in your 50s, I think it's easier to deny the fact that you're getting older. I mean, I will never say I will never grow up. I will always be childish if not childlike, or childlike if not childish. But 60, it's a little bit harder to deny because that's a decade you can start drawing Social Security.
Yeah. I mean, when that first Social Security check comes in the mailbox, it's going to be very weird. It's like, wait a minute. It wasn't that long ago. I was 19, and we were acting like idiots.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, now you're 60 and acting like an
Cashing a
idiot.
Social Security check does not mean you're not an idiot.
Exactly.
Well, but I don't know, but it's
Well, it's a different kind of idiocy.
it's really far removed.
Goes
from,
along with that AARP card you got at 50.
Hey, I joined the
I
AARP
set
this
that
year.
on fire.
Well, you know what? The only reason I did the AARP was the discount we got for when we went on our cruise a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
And if you go ahead and join up, at least let them put you on your mailing list. You cost them money because it costs money to maintain
Oh
a
yeah,
mailing
they're
list.
still mailing us crap, and we throw it away.
I
but-
see.
Oh,
here.
absolutely, yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, why do you oppose AARP?
Well, one, it's a reminder that I'm freaking old,
Okay.
and
Well, you've been that for a
two,
while.
I don't agree with their lobbying goals.
Okay.
so
Yeah,
Point taken.
I throw that away.
yeah.
So-
Plus, from my time at Humana, I didn't like them because they endorsed our competitor in the Medicare supplement business. So,
Whoever pays them the
sometimes-
most money.
sometimes
to
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just the whole thing with Pete again being younger than
Yeah.
us and just an athlete. It really hit
it just
hard.
drives home.
It hit
Mortality.
really hard for me.
Yeah.
So
I would-
here's to Pete.
amen to that. All right.
Here's to Pete.
Let's circle back around and try to finish this one up. here.
Bonaparte.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's finish up
I
Bonaparte.
had a quick reflection on Bonaparte.
Please.
Did Bonaparte rise to power because he was the only strong leadership in a power vacuum? Because people will tend to gravitate toward people who are leading in the vacuum of leadership.
I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
he was certainly properly placed in both space and time. However,
Well, it's like anybody who comes to power like that. It's a perfect storm
Mm-hmm.
for that
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
Again,
person.
staying out of the factions,
Yeah.
waiting till all of that had kind of played itself out, waiting until the clamor for an end to the violence.
And the question is, was he keeping his head down because it's like, damn, I don't want to get shot or get my head lopped off, or was he playing the long game?
he was playing the long game. If you study Bonaparte a lot, and I have, there's no question this guy he is very, very unique in history, because normally this sort of thing here, he would have been a brief footnote like Talleyrand, like Robespierre, like some of these guys that have come and they've been around a little while and they might be okay, but he changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk a lot about that in the next
Like,
episode.
like
but
it's one of these things of, if you'd have your druthers of a guy to take over France, you would have said Lafayette. 'Cause
Oh, absolutely.
Here's the guy that's really imbued with the spirit of revolution
Mm-hmm.
and a good leader, and been
He's the guy who embodied
Shouldered.
liberté,
Yeah.
Equality,
fraternité,
fraternité.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
he's like picking a coach in the NFL. He's
Yeah.
Sean McVay's successful assistant.
yeah.
You know, so
He's-
you that's the guy you want. You know,
Well, I got a better analogy. He is the guy. He is the same as all those guys that ran against Trump that came from traditional, like all the governors and what have you, and like the guy from Ohio.
Kasich or
Yeah, John Kasich. Kasich's got to be sitting there. I had a successful Senate run. I'm a successful governor of a Midwest state, and I can't
He
get any
should be
traction.
president.
The difference between Lafayette and Napoleon is Napoleon's an opportunist.
right. it- like-
Lafayette's a traditionalist.
Well, that
Yeah, like-
is a very important point.
Yeah.
You're exactly right, and this is not the time for traditionalists.
No.
by this
right,
time.
right. I mean, but the point being,
But-
I mean, if you'd had your druthers, Lafayette is the guy that should have
Yeah.
come out on top,
That's right.
but didn't. He ends up in jail somewhere.
Right.
And-
Well,
and, you know-
Bonaparte was he was his own. He knew more than he was. The quintessential smartest guy in the room.
Mm-hmm.
He did have that, but he was very radical in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
But because he came through the military side and was able to bring victories,
Yeah.
that's what. Because Francis basically found themselves in the shitter for a long time. England has always gotten the better of them. Louis XIV is long gone, and that greatness that they all aspire to and sort of kind of remember,
Mm-hmm.
they want that. They want to be France, to be that daughter of the church, that daughter of the world. They want to be that world's greatest garden. And Napoleon brings that, and all of a sudden he's going out with his armies and taking over places. Now that's kind of once he becomes first
Right.
consul.
I mean, but-
That's
right.
why he didn't. He's not a guy that was in that position for a year and then he's gone, like all that had happened before. He becomes literally that first consul. He's able to apply
Well, he
that.
understands
That's
you,
right.
you can't share executive.
That's
with
correct.
four other
He's-
dudes.
That's right, and he's got it all figured out to the point where by the time he becomes emperor, that's simply showing himself, his personality, and that's where I want to make sure I end this. Is that
Yeah.
when he becomes emperor, because by this time he has conquered all of France's enemies, other than England itself, have been brought to heel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically taken over everything, and he's brought new laws, the Napoleonic Code. We still run by some of that stuff. He's brought,
Right,
he's
because
codified
There are serious accomplishments
big time.
after this point where he takes over as first consul.
Hell, just going back to a real calendar,
that's
he would
right.
have been remembered for that.
You know, the promulgation of the rights of man and citizen
That's right.
comes under Napoleon,
That's right.
and
He's taking the good
for
parts of-
for an autocrat,
yeah.
here he's publishing these. Here are the rights
Well,
of everyone who lives in France,
Is that
and they're very much real things.
yeah, but
There's-
because as the Imperator points out, he's an opportunist.
oh yeah. Oh,
This is not him being oh, I have this great philosophy that I want to share, and
Oh, this
I
was
just
not-
also happen
Oh,
to be a
he's-
great military.
He's
This
playing both
is
sides. Yes.
yeah, this is him saying, you know what? I need to keep the mob on my side because I've
exactly.
seen what happens.
Right.
There's a little of that, but
Oh, I think there's more than a
but
little.
he is also an idealist too, because he believes in the achievements of the revolution. Because he could have repudiated them, he could have gone completely different. He had the power; he could have done it any way he
Hold
wanted
on.
to.
Well, see,
That's why he's so
see,
complicated.
when you declare yourself emperor and crown yourself,
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's slightly after this.
I
yes.
don't
Yeah.
care
After
if it's
all that's
slightly
done.
after.
Well, I mean,
Mentality is still there.
It does.
Right.
It does
you
matter.
don't change that much.
No, not at all.
That is still who he was when he released those. When he published that.
My point in all this is, don't. He's not easily put into a pigeonhole. He is far.
I'm not
more-
saying he is.
He
I'm
is
saying.
far more an idealist than you might imagine.
Well, let's put it this way: if he is, he's just like that idiot, and pardon my French, so to speak, Voltaire.
Yeah.
What's good for me is not necessarily good for thee.
But you
Yeah.
see, yes, he was an idealist,
Yes.
but he was definitely not an altruist.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Oh,
Just for its own purpose.
Word boner.
Yes.
Well,
Give
he
him
rec-
that Batman sound effect for that.
Yeah,
That's worthy. Of
Yeah,
the,
to me there's some truth to that, because what you're talking about here is he recognized the time had come. We cannot go back to the way of the way it was. There are too many good things that can come from this, and it's not just from self-serving. But remember, he wants "I am France and France is me." That's one of the comments that he made when he came back from Elba. He wishes.
didn't one of the Louis say something pretty much the same thing?
Well, yeah, "I am the state," but that was he's playing off a little bit of that.
Well, it's the difference. I am the state. I am France. I mean,
right.
it's the same thing.
Well, but the point is, both of those guys understood that we wish for the greatness of France. We are
yes,
not. We are not
as
just
personified by
we are
me.
not divorced from that. We are the same. This goes back to divine right of kings to a degree.
Right. That's why I'm saying that when I mentioned earlier that he ended up instituting exactly what the revolution replaced. He was king in all but name.
But he brought along with him so many reforms that the people who they
service.
rebelled against all that before. But
He did he bring reforms, or did he say, "All right,
Well,
I see where this has gone before, and we've already got some stuff in place. That's fine. I don't care, because as long as I have power, I don't care what all of this other stuff is."
He wanted. This goes back, I think, to Hobbes's Leviathan, which we've talked about. And he saw this in Louis XIV, and he saw that Louis XVI was absolutely the opposite of it. He really wanted to be this.
Well, Louis XVI was basically Charles II with a French accent.
That's right. And that he really wanted to be
Or Charles I, excuse me.
this absolutely enlightened monarch. He doesn't, because he knows that nobody gives a shit about a despot. But if you can bring true enlightenment and prosperity and greatness, this is where
So
you go back to
Cath-
what you're talking about here.
Catherine the Great.
Well, yeah, that's
It's the same idea.
It's the same idea.
My shit don't stink, but we need to modernize what's going
Well,
on.
that's
here.
exactly right. And that's one of the reasons that Napoleon is still.
Let's be a modern state without
right.
being really a modern democracy or
That's
a
right.
modern
Yeah,
republic.
you-
Well, see, and this is why I liken him to Voltaire.
Yeah,
in that
you can't have
because-
it both ways.
because Voltaire was very much, oh yes, all men are, I forget. Not all men are equal, because again, that's an American thing.
yeah.
But I mean, his Enlightenment philosophy was essentially for the upper class, the peons, the peasants. It wasn't for them because they couldn't handle it. They could however you want to put that.
You're supposed to use the Jack Nicholson impersonation when you say can't handle it, but that's okay.
Well, whatever. But to me, I feel like how we're talking about Napoleon is essentially we're talking about the same thing. It's couched a little differently, and some of the things are a little different. But essentially, it's as long as, just as with Voltaire, these are great things in principle, great philosophy to have, as long as I'm the one who gets to experience
It's the
it.
Bella
Yes.
Ox mix.
Yeah, as
paradigm.
long as I'm in
yeah,
unity.
it's-
So I got to be
I
the
mean,
unity. yeah.
Exactly.
Now, one of the things you were saying, Robert, was the I am the state, I am France, and they're basically the same. But the big difference between those two things is the marketing of it.
Well,
Because
yes.
to say I am the state means I am the establishment government. I'm the state. I'm the
Yes.
ruling. To say I am France says I am the history. I am the people.
No, I get that. And I
Oh,
recognize
that's
that.
that's
it
very insightful. Again, very
very much so, because that
That's a two for the Imperator
That's
here.
right.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
what a score!
because this
But I mean, what-
because by phrasing it that way, it changes the
It
tenure
does.
completely,
And
and
that-
it makes it much greater, because that's Bonaparte was very good about that.
He was.
Well, again,
He
I think
was
that's more of a-
excellent at marketing himself.
Yeah, again, I think you're right. I think that's more of the marketing thing. Yes, there is a philosophical difference in that, absolutely, and I recognize that when I brought that up. We just didn't go there, because you're right. It is saying something. It's greater than the state.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it is
it
not just
absol-
simply one of other.
But
it
again,
is France is.
You can make the argument that that's just his ego.
Yeah.
I think the two
Well,
are
every-
intertwined. But I will say
Everything's
this:
his ego.
he changed the war. He changed France in so many ways that by the time after he's gone in 1815. By the time you get into the 1830s, you've had two Bourbon kings that have been essentially sidelined, and they need to come up with somebody else. So they go for the Orleanist branch to Louis XIV. Excuse me, Louis Philippe, and they will not allow him to call himself the King of France. He must be called the King of the French. This is a very important distinction that kind of ties back what you're talking about, Imperator. France itself is much greater than whoever sits in there, and that's one of the legacies of Napoleon that we'll talk about next time, because we're out of time.
Right, and I'm going to challenge you next time to really prove the your. We didn't talk about it, I think, even at the beginning, that without Napoleon, nothing else matters. Basically, after that comes afterwards, he's the cause of everything that's happened since then.
You're an adherent of the great man theory of history, essentially.
I am, yes. That's, I suppose that's a very good way of putting
Yeah,
it.
that's what it's called. Is when you ascribe these turning points in history to the actions of an individual.
Well, and there's a lot to that.
yeah,
I'm
The question, but I think Francis's point is that everything afterward, for at least a century, is directly. You can't say that about most.
yeah. It's
And I'm going to seriously challenge him next month to.
The fact that I can even make the argument
yeah.
says something.
Well, you
Well,
know,
'Cause I'm not the only one that makes that, by the way.
those are
well, it
always,
doesn't necessarily mean it's a good
I
argument.
understand, but the fact it's not ludicrous.
Accepted wisdom is often not very wise.
Well, our best episodes are the ones where we argue with Francis. So
Really, I suppose that's possible. Yeah, that's right.
I thought our
Does
best
that mean
episode
we're
was
right
the
and he's
Habsburgs.
wrong, or vice versa?
What was that?
no, the not necessarily the most popular.
Oh, okay.
But I think our strongest episodes are the ones where we're
If we sit around in a circle jerk agreeing with each other, who cares?
Well, that's right. Yeah,
but when we have some tension with Francis, I think
Well, it
that-
doesn't have to be with Francis.
Yeah, we can have tension with
well,
anybody.
but you and I are too much alike. So
Since
I
I'm
don't
always
know.
right,
I
no
mean,
one
you
would
know,
question me.
Yeah.
we're always together. So
Well,
Well,
Well, one of
The
great-
bromance
one of-
emerges.
One of the great things about all of us is that we're always right.
that's true.
ask our wives; they'll tell you a different story. That's right.
There was a T-shirt I saw on Facebook that almost got it said, "Let's just admit that I'm right. It'll save time."
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
yeah. So the Imperator was very on it this episode. I appreciate there was some
well, yeah,
excellent.
absolutely.
Whatever drugs you're on this week.
I've been away for a while.
Excellent,
Sadly,
very
I'm not on any drugs.
No, I don't mean like illicit. I mean your regular medications.
Oh no, they changed my
very good.
anti-rejection
Thanks,
meds.
guys.
So Francis,
Well, maybe it's that. That's.
I'm not on any pain meds for this.
No, it's just
pain.
whatever your
what's
drug
killing
regimen
me.
is currently. I like it because you're lucid and not that you're not lucid, but
Yes.
you're gregarious. Well, you're
Well,
always
I'm-
gregarious.
I'm in a
You're
lot of
making a lot of good points.
I'm in a lot of pain. I mean,
pain brings insight.
yes,
It does.
you know,
Pain brings insight.
I'm walking-
purifies
I'm
the
walking around
soul.
on a broken femur. I mean,
So I mean, when the Imperator's comfortable and he's got biscuits and gravy in bed with his naked wife,
amen.
he's not thinking.
There's no blood.
There's no blood.
There's no blood.
So he's here. He's in pain. He's thinking. He was very insightful this episode.
thank
Very,
you.
very well done.
Thank you.
Very well
Yes.
done.
And-
What's next, Francis?
Well, we're here at Studio A at Brother Andre's house, who made us a wonderful breakfast, by the way.
Yes,
So
delicious.
he has the ball this next episode to talk about Code of Honor. He's got a quotation. Don't know what it is. He may not know what it is, actually. But I can assure you it's going to be one for the ages. So
It's one that will challenge the mind.
there we go. So be here next
Ooh.
episode.
We hope you enjoyed another pointless discussion of eternal questions. Remember, new episodes drop every second and fourth Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern, just in time for your morning commute. And every fifth Friday, we drop a special Hoopajube episode. Spread the word we are on all the major platforms, and leave us a review. That helps others find us. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as our website, snakesandotters.com. Join us next time. Same snake time, same otter channel.